going on, guys? Welcome back to the channel. You know who it is by now, Jimothy. So ladies and gents, I thought I would profile another deck for you guys to have a look at, and that deck is Bujins. Now these guys released some recent support from Lightning Overdrive, which definitely takes the deck in a different direction from what it was previously. Now I have profiled this deck previously on the channel, and one of the noticeable things that I mentioned was that it was a little bit slow, but with the new introduction of the new cards, it's somewhat faster. So without wasting any more time, let's get straight into the profile. So starting us off, ladies and gents, we have triple Bujin Typhoon. Now this is probably the best Bujin card in the deck right about now. So what it does, it allows you to basically rescue two Bujin monsters from your deck by tributing this card on field. It doesn't negate their effects, special summons them in defense position. Also, when you XYZ summon a Bujin monster, you can attach this card to the Bujin monster as an equipped spell, and it banishes any monster that it battles. So this comboed with Susanoo is an absolute power card in the deck. Now what I will say, it is a budget deck, ladies and gents, and it is also a fun deck. So you're not going to be able to take this to anything like a YCS, for example, but you could definitely do well with this at your local. So definitely triple Bujin Typhoon, the newest addition to the Bujin lineup. Next, we have two Bujin Mahitatsu. I pronounced that correctly. Well, so what Mahitatsu does is allows you to special summon itself by pitching a Bujin card from your hand to the graveyard, and a lot of the Bujin monsters play out of the graveyard, so it's a nice little bit of an addition to have to the deck. It also can banish a monster from your grave to be able to send another Bujin card from your deck to your graveyard, which can fuel a lot of plays. You can actually bump this up to 3, but in testing I found that 2 is fine for the most part, but definitely something that needs to be messed about with a little bit more, because you can actually retrieve some of your banished Bujin monsters, which is a nice little touch. So 2 Mahitatsu. Next up, probably the third most important Bujin card is Arasuda. He can basically special summon himself onto the field if a Bujin monster you control gets banished, which we'll go through when we go through the rest of the Bujin monsters. But just a nice addition of a body basically, which allows you to do some different plays. Next up, I have might even bump this down to 2 Bujin Hirume. So Hirume can special summon themselves to the field by banishing a Bujin monster. Again, it doesn't really do much else apart from put a body on board. It does have some other effects, but it's a little bit niche. More so it is the body, to be honest. Next up, we have double Bujin Haruko. This is basically a rank up magic spell in the form of a monster card, which really pairs well with your Bujin Arasuda, which when it banishes itself, when it's in a pendulum zone, it allows you to XYZ a Bujin monster on top of the Bujin monster XYZ monster you already controlled. So Harume will special summon himself out, Haruko will then hit the banish pile, and then you can actually retrieve it with one of the extra monsters that I'll go through later on. So double Haruko, just in case for a follow-up play. Now, if I didn't mention it, ladies and gents, you definitely want to go second with this deck. Again, it's not the most powerful of decks, but again, you do want to try and go second. So we're also running 1 Mikazuchi. Again, it special summon itself just to put a body on board if one of your Bujin monsters gets destroyed by battle or card effect. Onto the non-Bujin Beast Warrior monsters, we've got 1 Bujin Turtle, 1 Quillin, 1 Bujingi Hare. These all have graveyard effects that allow to banish themselves to do various things. Quillin is a face-up monster pop. Bujingi Hare protects from card destruction. Turtle protects from targeting. And we've also got Bujingi Crane and Centipede. Centipede can pop a spell or trap. Now, to be able to proc any of those ones from graveyard, you do need to control a Beast Warrior Bujin type monster, and you can banish it from your graveyard. Most of them are quick effects. Crane is basically honest in the form of Bujin. You can actually search this, hence why I'm only playing 1. It's not essential to you winning the game, but it does help to push for some damage. Next up, for our non-Bujin engine, we have got double Honest. If you did not know, ladies and gents, all the monsters here are light monsters, so Honest pairs well with this. Just holding this in hand, just in case you manage to make it to the battle step and when your opponent wants to attack over one of your monsters, drop Honest, and that is that, ladies and gents. Next up, we have got just the 1 hand trap. We're running triple side frame Gamma. This is just to protect your Typhoon plays, to be able to obviously negate Ash Blossom or anything that would prevent your Typhoon from going through. So just the Gamma package. We are also playing triple Gamma Seal, ladies and gents. This is just easy removal. Put this on board, and it's more or less game if you can manage to get some of your XYZ monsters out onto the field. So triple Gamma Seal. And we're also running the 1 Dino Wrestler Pankratops. This is just a beautiful card. Like I said, I put this in most decks that I have. If it's not in the main deck, then it's 100% in the side deck, because it's just a very, very flexible card. Next, onto the spells. Now, we haven't got many, ladies and gents. We're playing triple Fire Formation Tenki. They're all Beast Warrior monsters, so easily searchable with Tenki. We're also playing the new Bujin spell card, which is Bujin Transcendence. It actually protects your Bujin monsters from card destruction, and you can actually do a whole plethora of other things, but the main thing is the card destruction. Again, you are going second with this deck, so you do want to basically be able to protect your Bujin monsters, at least keep a couple of them on field to be able to rank up using Haruko. So 2 Bujin Candescents. And for the spicy one-offs, we got 1 Raigeki, 1 Monster Reborn, 1 Call by the Grave, because hand traps are the bane of this deck's existence, 1 Foolish Burial, and 1 Double or Nothing, signifying what we are going to be playing in our extra deck. Onto the traps. We've only got 3 traps now. This is somewhat of a flexi spot. I've decided to put a Silent Judgment in and a Lost Wind. Basically, if your opponent if you lose the die roll and your opponent for some reason decides that you want to go first, hopefully your Judgment and your Lost Winds can kind of like hold out until you can actually do something. But for the most part, Lost Winds are good because you can actually mill this and it can set yourself back to the field with one of your extra deck monsters, which is useful. Speaking of extra deck monsters, we are on 1 Bujingi Ahamshima. So Ahamshima is beautiful card. Can special summon that takes 2 monsters with the same level, and it can special summon 2 monsters with the same level, 1 from your hand and 1 from the graveyard, and then immediately go into a XYZ monster. And obviously it is a Bujin name, so it's really, really useful. It can also pop spells and traps if an XYZ monster that this card points to detaches a material to activate its effect, which is super useful. We're also playing for a bit of utility. We're playing 1 Light Dragon Atignista, protects your monsters, as well as pop a monster on field. 1 Abyss Dweller, 1 Brotherhood of the Fire Fist Tiger King, which just kind of negate a whole board. It's basically like Dark Riddle no more, but negatable. We're also running 1 Tornado Dragon, and these are just kind of utility cards just to be able to protect some of my Bujin plays. They are flex bots, so there are a few things that you can do with them, but for the most part, those are the XYZs that I'm using to support the Bujin lineup. Onto the actual Bujins, I've gone for triple Susanoo. Now you could actually play this at 2, but I just find the 3 is just pièce de résistance. You typically want to go into Susanoo as one of your starting plays because it can actually search a card. This card can also attack all your opponent's monsters once each. So if you couple this with Honest or Bujingi Crane, it's just, it's beautiful. And if you can manage to get them into attack position, which they probably will be, you can actually OTK. I was running Black Garden previously and OTKing through Black Garden, but it was a little bit gimmicky, to be honest. And as it was a fun way to win the game, but it just kind of like just wasn't consistent enough. So I've gone with triple Bujin Susanoo for that reason. We're also running 1 Amaterasu and 1 Bujinki Tsukiyomi. Amaterasu, this is the one that can special summon a Bujin monster from the Banished Zone. So typically when I've been testing this deck, I can end up on at least 2 XYZ monsters if I'm going second, or even if I'm going first, to be honest. So that's just with a 5-card hand. So with the 6th card, you could potentially do something else. Tsukiyomi can mill your hand. You have to have at least 1 or no more than 2 cards in hand, mill your hand and draw 2 cards. So with Lost Wind in hand, like I mentioned previously, you can mill it to the graveyard. Then if your opponent special summons a monster from the extra deck, it can set itself back. So that was the thinking behind that. Can also get you out of a bit of a bad situation because you do tend to blow through your hand resources to be able to get your monsters onto the field, basically. Then also we are playing the Utopia double package. This is basically what is going to be winning you a lot of your games, along with Susanoo. Just being able to OTK, especially on your second turn, is kind of like vital, to be honest, because this deck doesn't really have a good grind game and it doesn't put up the most intimidating boards, but just being able to OTK is just good enough for me. And then finally, the one card that I could not find, which is number 41, Baguska. Now Baguska typically is going to be your turn 1 play if you are going first, which is something that I don't advise that you do. So you literally sit on Baguska and hope that your opponent's not playing any link heavy deck, because it will just get ousted. But Baguska basically can just stall out the game until you get to your following turn, and then just obviously try and go for the OTK. So yeah. And that is it, ladies and gents. Definitely a fun rogue option, something that I've really like, as you know, I just play a load of random decks, and Bujins are definitely fit the bill for that. But anyway, we find ourselves at the end of another video. As always, if you did like this content, you know what to do by now. Hit that like button, share, subscribe, all of that good stuff, and I will definitely see you guys on the next video. Hope you enjoyed. Peace.